think at the end of the day, all our players want to win. I mean, that's the most important thing, and we've got to get back on a winning track. I mean, we're not doing it there. So if we want to attract not only our own free agents, but we want to attract whatever it may be to come here, in future years, we've got to show that there's a pathway to win here. I think there's a very clear pathway from draft assets, cap room, and space, and everything else that we've got. We haven't had a lot of those things in the past, so I think there's a pathway there to do it. And I think this city speaks for itself.
Yo, it's your boy AJ. I'm here with Rage. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any breaking Nets news. Also, check out our articles on netskingdom.net. The site is back up. We back, man. So this video is a very, very special video, man. We are going to break down the Sean Marks story, the full breakdown. We're going to talk about the highs, the lows, the beginning, the ends, everything, why Nets fans hate him. It's going to get really spicy with this video. So we're going to start early on in Sean Marks' career because a lot of Nets fans, hold Sean Marks. They glorify the moment Sean Marks, when he signed with the Nets in February 18th, 2016. People were, it was a time, let me break it down, because at that time, Mikhail Prokhorov, his vision for was rebuilding the team. We had a 21-win team. It was down bad. We were down bad with salary. The salary was messed up at that time. And Sean Marks kind of had to dig us out of a hole that Billy King put us in, so he was kind of faced with a giant task of reshaping the Nets, in February 18, 2016. And then that time he hired Kenny Atkinson. So everybody knows Kenny Atkinson was the coach that installed the Brooklyn Grit, the Grit team that we held this 2019 Brooklyn Grit team, the D-Lo, Spencer Dinwiddie team. We hold them in such regard because we went from a destroyed franchise of Billy King that Billy King built to this rebuilt 2019 Brooklyn Grit team, bro. And I think, why do you think Nets fans hold on to that moment in time of that D-Lo, Spencer, Jarrett, Harris team, bro, that Sean Marks was, that he built? Why do you think Nets fans just hold that,
Well, that was kind of big because at the end of the day, we know what type of hole Billy King put us in. Like we
Mhm.
literally gave the Celtics, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But not only that, we
Yeah.
lost everything. We literally traded for the worst type of superstars you could ever try and get. They were here.
KG.
They were barely here,
Yeah.
and then they just were gone. They were gone. It's not like they had value. They were gone, and Sean Marks was faced with a very very difficult task. And
Yeah.
we went from a team that was awful and in the worst situation in the league by far to a team that was actually fun and that people actually wanted to watch and that people just were excited about again. Like
Yeah.
that's just something different
It
than
was a great
what
moment
had
in
been
time,
experienced
bro.
those past years.
Yeah. As a Nets fan, like I said, I look back at that time and I'm like, we were brought out of the darkness. I think why we just hold on to that moment, and it was so long ago now. Like 2019 is so, like, it was a minute ago, bro. But we hold on to that moment because we were in a dark time, bro. We were in I'm gonna read this little article from this Nets website that's talking about what Sean did. So they did salary dumps to get picks back, first, seconds, whatever was available. Traded solid players like Thaddeus Young, Bogdanovich, and Brooke Lopez for either picks or a young star. Found players who became stars. They got Karis LeVert for Young, Jared Allen for Bogdanovich, and D'Lo for Lopez. These three, plus the big finds, Joe Harris and Spencer Dinwiddie, became the core of the exciting 2018-19 team that won 42 games, made the playoffs, and attracted attention, and ultimately KD and Kyrie's attention to go to the Nets. Now, this time it was a great time. I know Nets fans hold on to this time, but this is what I think the positive of what Sean Marks, because we'll talk about the positives, right? This is where Sean Marks' positives come in. The drafting, finding talent, finding second round talent that's, unwrapping the talent in the draft, rebuilding, flipping contracts, salary dumping. That's where Sean was in his bag early on. And then we're going to get to the KD Kyrie, which attracted the KD Kyrie. Now, Kyrie came here. And now people think it was Sean. Sean did have a part in it, because he did build the 2019 team. But Kyrie had a mission to come here. This was his hometown, and he brought KD along for the ride. Sean was just, he was put in the perfect position because it was like he was in Brooklyn and New York City area. Kyrie grew up a New Jersey Nets fan, and Sean just happened to be the GM of the Brooklyn Nets. I'm not saying he had no part in bringing Kyrie and KD here. I mean, he did do his due diligence, but it was ultimately just Kyrie's decision to come here. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like Sean. Not like he called Sean and Sean called him and was like, "Yeah, Sean, you're the reason I'm here." Like, it wasn't kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? And I think Nets fans got to separate the two. But yeah, talk about this Katie and Kyrie, bro. Like, I know the situation in our notes, it's like there's so much you could talk about, but the off seasons, all right. So when Katie and Kyrie first got here, it's like we thought this team had so much depth behind it with Jarrett, Karras, Spence, but we didn't really give that team a shot. You know, I know Katie was coming off his Achilles, he was hurt. But Sean didn't. Do you think Sean did enough, or did he move too quickly, like going for the James Harden? You know, or he should have gave this team a chance. This KD, Kyrie, Spence, Karras out. You know, that team a chance. Joe Harris. You know, do you think he moved too quickly? How do you think his GMing was at that moment in time?
So at that moment, it was kind of crazy because like although, in hindsight, obviously with everything that we've seen, you would have really, really hoped that you would have just completely lost, you would have completely forgot about the James Harden thing and you
Yeah,
kept your guys. But it's easy to say in hindsight. If James Harden at that point in time wants to come to your team after
yeah,
being with the Rockets his whole career and just being that superstar, I don't know how you're going to deny that. And having players like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving next to James Harden, that was unseen.
yeah,
And it was ridiculous. But at the time, even then, we barely gave that team a shot. It was the first year we saw KD and Kyrie together. Kyrie
yeah,
only played 20 something games that prior year, anyways.
yeah,
And it was the first time we seen them together. They played for a little bit, did all right.
yeah.
And then we traded for James Harden. And then it was
Immediately.
like, boom,
It was a
boom.
shockwave, bro. I remember that time too. We literally went live and it was crazy. With that Harden when that Harden deal came
Literally
through.
scroll down to the first ever, like, just live stream that this man has put up.
Yeah,
The
it's on his
first
channel.
ever
Go
live
back on
stream,
his
man.
channel, guys, and see where my reaction
First
to this
ever live
Harden.
stream where it started, man.
I should have broke down the clip, but you guys can go look. It's just a funny. It's a funny going live
Hey,
when that Harden
that's
deal
bad.
happened.
Hey, what did they know about that? And that's news,
Yeah.
you know?
So all right, so that happens, right? The Harden deal happens. I want to talk about this off season because you have this in your notes. The off season, the 2021-2022 off season. I think when Sean got the stars, this is the moment you build. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he didn't really get a chance to build around Katie and Kyrie immediately because he went for James Harden quick. You know, so you didn't really
Yeah.
see what you had as far as depth wise. Because it's funny in hindsight looking now, like most of these teams now are duos and they have really good depth pieces around them. You know, there's not really a lot of there's still big three teams in the NBA, but it's more of a it's kind of like a dying breed now. It's more about team building, you know. And Sean didn't really go in his roster construction. It was more big three. Let's get it. I'm winning now. We're going for the chip. But it's
Makes sense. It's a
2021,
lot of
2022.
money.
Yeah, a
But,
lot.
there was
Exactly.
no but we gotta talk about it earlier. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but
Yeah,
yeah, you were only able to get like vet minimum guys, but the thing was is that, there wasn't like, the tax aprons like there is now, you know?
yeah,
And now
yeah,
now it's way more of a hit. And then we were, obviously we'll transition to it, but you were able to see what, Brad Stevens was able to put together just in general. It's just, it's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But
It's
yeah, that offseason was definitely pretty weak, in terms of
yeah.
what we did.
It's Patty Mills, James Johnson, Paul Millsap, DeAndre Benbury, Bruce Brown, Marcus Aldridge. See, these are some of the names that Sean was building around Katie and Kyrie and Harden. And I'm thinking about that team now. I just think Sean could have did a better job. And I know people were like, "Oh my God, we have the big three. We're gonna win everything." But this NBA landscape, you still gotta have others. You still gotta have role players. You gotta have guys around the big three to like make them successful. Just in case guys go down. Because we're looking at this Celtics team right now in the finals. Jason Tatum is playing awful. You know what I'm saying? But Drew Holiday, Derek White, they have so many players where your main stars don't have to go crazy. The way I feel like our big three was set up in 2021, It was basically we're an injury away and we're done. You know, one of the big three goes down, or two of the big three goes down, we're done because it just lacked the depth, lacked the wings. And I remember complaining about it during that time, bro. Like he just didn't get for me. He didn't get no three. I wanted 3-and-D defensive wings. We didn't have a legit center. We were like going after.
Blake Griffin was guarding Brook Lopez. And
Yeah,
the thing
yeah,
was is that what we did the one thing I want to mention about that the year where we, had James Harden, the year where we traded for James Harden, there
yeah,
wasn't many things like, I thought the one thing I thought that Sean Marks could have did better after trading for James Harden was that you had Spencer Dinwiddie. He was still going for value. He had a strong season that prior
yeah,
year, because Kyrie got hurt.
yeah,
And, he was coming off that year. And although, yes, he did, he tore his ACL 3 games into the season, there
yeah,
was still value to be had. And the thing was, is that you traded for James Harden. That means that it's your duty to win that championship now. You got to do it
yeah,
now. You have to do it. You can't wait. So they wanted to hold on to Spencer Dinwiddie, and they didn't trade him at the deadline after, we just completely just held on to him.
yeah,
And then we went into that, and then we went into the playoffs. He didn't play at all. We still knew he was going to be out. There was a
yeah,
little bit of talks about him coming back, but at the end of the day, he was out and didn't play a single game. And we ended up just moving him in the offseason for a second round pick and
some
Chandler
TPEs,
Hutchinson.
the
Chandler
TPEs we didn't
Hutchinson, like
use.
TPEs that we never used.
Yeah,
Chandler
that hurt.
Hutchinson retired. He
Yeah,
retired a few days after, and he didn't even go to us. I
because
don't even know how that happened.
I remember that offseason close, and I'm like, I was on the Sean Marks high. Like, if you go back in time and look at my content, I was like, I was championing Sean Marks. I was like, yo, Sean's the GOAT. But then after that Spencer deal, I kind of lacked. I'm like, whoa, Sean, what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm
And the
like,
buyouts were obviously nice, but the thing
yeah,
was is that obviously, yeah, you kind of got unlucky with LaMarcus Aldridge, but outside
yeah,
of the buyout guys, it was like you still really messed up by not getting rid of Spencer Dinwiddie because you could have gotten players to really help you out that series
yeah,
because you got to think every single person that you're playing in a playoff game matters.
yeah,
Every single person matters on that floor. So if you trade two guys or you get a guy just at Spencer Dinwiddie's caliber to mix in with not only James Harden, Kyrie, and KD, but just the thing was, imagine if KD had some help, in game 7. Obviously, Jeff Green was a big help in game 5, and, but it was really just KD. It was
yeah,
really KD, and Harden wasn't playing the same, but it was just KD. We didn't have much help.
yeah,
If you're gonna tell me Blake Griffin and if you're gonna tell me Blake Griffin, Landry Shamet, Bruce Brown at the time, Nick Claxton is enough, I don't know. I don't
and
know. You're really depending on that top three, and that's the
yeah,
problem. And
yeah,
although yes, we were unlucky with injuries, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's sports. You have to go in with that mindset.
yeah.
No one's gonna get the Clippers a pass with them losing every year. Yes, Kawhi's hurt
Mm,
every year, but
yeah,
who's giving the Clippers a pass? Who's like, yeah, let's wait it out again for 2 more years. Clippers, everyone's just like, what are they doing? They're
yeah,
done. They're done. They've lost every year, and no one's really cutting them slack. But
yeah.
Kawhi's out every year.
And I'll be the devil's advocate here, and I'll talk about this Sean Marks, because they're gonna be the Sean Marks fans. They're like, but Rage, their injuries and COVID and like they're kind of like, how they say, oh, Sean, it's not his fault because of this happened and this happened and this happened. Like, regardless of I know the injuries happen, right? I know injuries happen, and I know COVID happened, but you still got to build this roster. You still got to build it. You still got to build a roster. And I feel like he failed in that offseason, like to build around Katie and Kyrie. I remember vividly the free agents that I put on this page. You can go back and look. The ones I had, the top free agents, we didn't get. I would always be like, why are we signing this guy? We're signing this guy on the market. And it's like,
And
it
then we
was
had
very
Joe
old,
Harris on a
washed.
20 mil
Yeah,
contract.
yeah,
We had Joe Harris on a 20 mil contract, and that guy was starting on, he was starting on our team in,
yeah,
when we were playing the Bucks and stuff, and that was a big problem. The
yeah,
thing is that when you look at Boston, look at their starting lineup and tell me, just like in general, and then with some of these teams, like where are the flaws in some of these guys? With Joe Harris, yes, he could shoot threes, but he couldn't play defense at all. Like
yeah,
you're not like as talented as we were, and I'm not gonna lie, like as if we were healthy, we were gonna win that championship. I wholeheartedly believe that, and obviously I hate the way it ended, but at the end of the day, you
yeah,
still could have won that Buck series if you just added a little bit more. You didn't have much. You had Shamit. He was very for you that year. We know that. Go
Yeah.
back to some of our content. There was a lot of
Yeah.
not so good 90
It was
Shamit.
a crazy time. It was a crazy
TLC. Oh my goodness.
TLC.
We
Yeah.
we, we
Like the
relied on
guys that he
Blake
put
Griffin to play
around was
center.
just it just didn't work out, man. And now we're talking about like so we're thinking about the flaws in Sean, right? Because Sean, they talk about the rebuilding and then the Brooklyn Grit team, but the building around stars, I feel like he failed really, really bad with the, going after the James Harden trading James Harden for essentially, I mean, what was it? Seth, Andre Drummond, Ben. This is where we talked about this too, Rage, when we were texting about it. You look about the other teams in the landscape of things, right? Utah giving up their stars. Look at the return they got. Rudy Gobert, 5 first rounds. Donovan, how much picks they got. The other teams, Sam Presti
Paul
trading
George trade. Oh my
Paul
goodness.
George
Yeah,
trade.
that's
So
that's
it's like
ridiculous. Ridiculous.
once Sean realized this star thing wasn't going to work out, and I know the Kyrie situation, we're not going to go into that, and the KD situation requests and the beef between personality issues. But once Sean realized that he had to blow it up, he didn't do a good job of it. You know what I'm saying? To me, I feel like he should have got more in return for these stars. If you're gonna blow up the team, okay, we're on the blow up trail. Like you went through the stars, you got swept with Katie and Kyrie, right? You made it to the second round. Unfortunately, guys went down when Katie, the big toe Katie shot. But then after that, and then we go to the Jock Vaughn. We're gonna wait for the coaching hires. I want to wait till we do the coaching hires to the last end of it. But at that peak, when you're blowing up the team, it's like you gotta have a plan. And it just didn't seem like Sean had a plan. I know he was
It
hit with
panicked.
it,
He
but he didn't
panicked.
have a
He
plan.
panicked.
He
He
it was like he
panicked, and
panic GM'd,
it
you
was
know?
2 to 3 days after. I don't know. I think Kyrie requested a trade on a Friday, and the
Yeah,
deal was made on a Sunday. He
yeah,
made the deal on a Sunday, and the trade was for Dorian Finney-Smith.
yeah.
It was
Spencer.
for Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, and 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
And
And the
two
crazy
first-round
part
picks.
is, why I was so mad at that moment is because in hindsight, everybody's like, "Oh my god, the Mavs fleeced the Mavs fleeced Sean Marks." And I agree with people who say that because in hindsight, I think we should have just paid Kyrie and traded him down the line. If you're gonna blow it up, at least trade him down the line because the value at that time, we were on a 13-game winning streak. It was looking great. Kyrie still would have played if you paid him, but if you still want to blow it up, you could build up his value and trade him. You know what I'm saying? And or if worst comes to worst, you continue the season and you lose in the I don't know second round or something like that. But I was just so upset at the return for Kyrie. I was like, this is Kyrie Irving, a generational superstar we will not see in another 10, 15 years. And we just got one first round. What was it? One first round and Spencer, who we let go for CPEs. That's what I'm like. It's like
We
I
did
felt
that
like
that
why?
we didn't use, and it was just interesting
Yeah.
because it's just like if you
It's like
look at
Spencer
all of
came
these trades in
back, and it was
hindsight,
like,
it's like I
yeah,
know I know with like the vision of this, with everything's kind of changed. Obviously we had to pivot from James Harden. We tried the Ben Simmons thing. Obviously, we know that hasn't been working out and didn't work out. He literally didn't play at all the year that we traded for him. So
no,
that obviously, and don't forget that year that team, that team that we had, that we went up against the Boston Celtics, that we got swept in the playoffs, we were a play-in team. Don't forget that we were a
mm,
play-in team. Don't forget
yeah,
that we were a play-in team.
yeah.
We were a play-in
Um,
team. Steve
that
Nash was still the coach.
yeah, that is just what really like hurts me
Hired
about
Steve
Sean too,
Nash,
bro.
bro. Yeah.
Once I saw the moves after the superstars, was and that well, I saw the moves building the stars. I was upset. I was very upset how he didn't build right around KD, Kyrie, and Harden. Then when Harden left, we had KD, Kyrie, and Ben. Fortunately, Ben was injured, but still, the team, the role players he put
Steph
around KD
Curry,
and
Andre
Kyrie,
Drummond,
yeah, I
and,
just
and
feel
then
like
it
he
was
could have
like
got
none of those guys
yeah,
helped. And then you had Patty Mills, you kept Joe Harris on contract, you
and
had
then
a bunch of guys, and then it took
uh,
you until the year that Kyrie opted into his contract and KD requested trade and all that. But at the end of the day, we still ended up having those guys because KD rescinded his trade request or whatever, you know.
yeah,
But that year. that was the only year we were actually able to like see a competent like we were actually watching like
Good
good
basketball.
things
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah.
But that was it was so unfortunate because that was the year we had to deal with the Kyrie Irving stuff.
Yeah.
And
But
it was unfortunate, but like still, it was like it was just what you get back in return,
yeah.
and then all of that, all it's just a mixture, literally of everything. You don't
Yeah.
if you don't have good coaching and talent around your players, you're gonna look like how you did against Boston every time. You're gonna get swept and you're gonna lose just every game. Not every game was not a blowout, but you're gonna lose like convincingly every game to where it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he made no
yeah, they
other
got that
moves
one.
at the deadline and then the Nets got swept by the Celtics because after that he traded for Harden. It's like he didn't make any other moves after that. You're supposed to have a plan. That's what I'm talking about, plans. From me standpoint, he didn't have a plan going into these. You're supposed to be at least prepared, or at least move at your pace of time. Don't move at a player's timing. That's why I think Sean Marks is one of his biggest errors. Is he moves on players' timing, like, oh, Spencer, you want to go here? Let me, treat you nice and do this and do the best for you. Oh, KD, you want to go here? Let me do it for you. Like, no, no, no. You're supposed to be selfish as a GM. Like, look at yourself in the as an organization. It's you first. You know what I'm saying? Put your organization first. We've
Yeah,
seen
let's trade
Blazers.
Kyrie Irving in 2 days. Let's
Yeah,
trade Kyrie Irving
you
in two
trade
days.
Kyrie in 2 days. Yeah, put your organization first. We seen the Blazers, right? Damian Lillard did so much for the Blazers. Look how the Blazers GM was selfish. Was like, no, no, no. I'm not trading you where you want to go. I'm getting my value back, and I'm
And
flipping
still
you
traded
the
into a
right
good
way. You know
team.
what I'm saying?
You're able to involve different teams. You don't have to just have a
Yeah.
two-team trade every time, you
Yeah,
know?
he moves too quick. When players try to like want to go or stuff like that, it's like you in essence are you have them on contract. You move at your pace, your timing. You have your plan set out. Like he just does like a quick. You know what I'm saying? It's just he's too like sporadic as a GM to me, and that's what really like I think was one of his biggest errors. So 2023, 2022, 2023 offseason traded Royce O'Neal for a first round pick. Oh no, he did we get Royce in that 2022 year?
Yeah, so we traded so that year, the year where we're going into the 22-23, when we
Yeah.
were, when Katie requested us trade and all that, we traded a first round pick for Royce O'Neal. We signed Markeith Morris, Edmund Sumner, TJ Warren, and Yuta Watanabe. We signed them all on 1 year deals with just Yuta staying until they traded him and Royce O'Neal that next year. Not only that same offseason, we let go of Bruce Brown. We let go of Bruce Brown. We let him walk and win a championship and be a big contributor there for Patty Mills, who
Yeah.
is now what? Is he in the league still? Like, is he playing? I don't know what's going
Joe
on.
Harris. Like it's
Oh,
like
don't forget. Hey,
yeah.
going into that, Steve Nash was still the coach.
Steve Nash was still the coach, yeah. And we're gonna get to the coaching hires. I want to say the coaching hires for last because that was one of Sean's biggest failures. But the thing I think Sean and we're nice fans, let me know in the comments. Sean tends to put his friends or relationships before a good GMing. You know what I'm saying? You're playing Patty Mills, your friend, or relationship Patty Mills, over a player that's Cam Thomas in the playoffs that has more. He's better than him. You know what I'm saying? Cam, we all saw that Cam had the potential to be better. And we're here playing guys. You're overpaying Joe Harris. You're letting Patty Mills you're keeping Patty Mills for too long. It's just like he does this nepotism factor with Sean. It's too much. You know what I'm saying? You can't really
Realistically,
yeah.
realistically, Sean Marks has lost out on value for like
Yeah.
so many players.
Yeah.
Like
It's just
it's
yeah.
just it was Joe Harris. He waited too long. Patty Mills. He waited too long. He waited too long. He waited too long on Royce O'Neal.
Royce O'Neal.
He's waiting too long on Dorian Finney-Smith. All of
Yeah.
these players are like, all these players are like, these guys have been losing and losing and losing
Yeah.
their value.
He's a lame duck GM that sits on his hands at times. He's not really active at times. You know what I'm saying? He just like I said, he puts the relationships first because these guys are good guys. And this is where I talked about before. Oh my God, Spencer, I'm gonna send you to where you want to go because da 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 da. KD, I'm gonna send you to here. And I don't care about the return, or I want a decent return. But it's like you should be selfish in these moments as a GM. That's what I wanted from Sean at that moment. But he didn't. He failed us in these off seasons, like we explained the 2022 off season. I mean, TJ Warren, Yuta, you could. you could argue he may do with those because of the salary cap, but still, I just think it wasn't. I don't think he did enough. Like Rage
Utah
said,
was nice, but he barely. But you
yeah,
like Utah acquisition was nice, but like a lot of these guys barely like contributed. Like
yeah,
it was like some like LaMarcus Aldridge was a very good buyout. It was so unfortunate with him. Like it was too bad, but even still, LaMarcus all like you still have to worry about how he's gonna look defensively and him getting down the court. Like you
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You still had to like kind of do that. We waited so do we all remember how Sean Marks has said we're gonna get a center, we're looking to get bigger, we're looking to get bigger and have a big one
yeah,
stretch the floor. When did we ever get a big that stretched the floor that
yeah,
actually like an actual big man, an actual center? We're making Markieff Morris play center. We're playing Blake Griffin at center. We're playing Paul Millsap at
yeah.
center. What are
That was
we
one of his biggest
doing?
flaws too. He fell in love
We're
with the
still
small ball philosophy.
are we trying to put Noah Clowney at center?
Yeah, the small ball philosophy with Sean, and I hope
Still
he just got rid of this philosophy. I hope he's done because he's holding on to this small ball philosophy for years that hasn't worked. It's been years of failures at putting this small ball shit. Like it's just it hurts, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, bro, you see how the league is. Teams are getting bigger. Teams have wings. Sean is just late to the table with the wings and getting big men. It's like he's afraid to sign big guys sometimes, bro.
It's
And
like
I'm
you
like,
got Patty Mills and Seth Curry on the court at the
yeah,
same
it's
time. You and Goran Dragic, and then you have like the biggest reason why we're getting outmatched. We're going up against Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown.
mm,
We're going up against big guys who can play defense. We're and
yeah,
not don't forget we also had bad coaching and we had a bad defense. And both
yeah,
in 2021, 22, and 22, 23, the defense was consistently not good. The
yeah,
2022-23 year, it wasn't as bad as the Celtics games were a little bit closer, but still the offense was horrible because we had no coaching. We didn't
mm,
have enough players to help complement Katie and Kyrie, and they looked awful. I'm not going
yeah,
to completely give Katie and Kyrie a pass for how they looked that 22-23 playoff run, but let's not act like Sean Marks and Steve Nash helped them out at all.
yeah.
No,
Um,
imagine if Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum had to go through that. How would they have developed?
yeah, it's sad,
How
man.
would
It's
they have
like
looked?
Nets
How would they have
fans.
looked?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like after all these issues with the roster building, construction, how do you still? And like I said, Sean is the second longest tenured GM. GMs have gotten fired for less. Like Sean might go down as one of the the worst GMs in NBA history because of this big three failure is going to go down. They're going to make 30 for 30s on us, bro. This big three failure that we had as this franchise as a failure with the laughing stocks of the league. We've seen GMs fired for less, and this man is still the most tenured GM, well, second most behind Sam Presti, but for 9 years, like you go through his resume, like I said, 9 years, 2 playoff sweeps in a row, second round once in his tenure. It's just it's not the best resume as a GM, and
We
we've seen
still don't have
GMs.
a coach. We're on
Yeah,
coach number
the coaching
5. We're on
hires.
coach
Yeah, how many
number
coaches has it
5.
been? How many how many coaches did we go through?
We're literally on we're
Five,
on coach number 5. We're literally
five
and then
coaches in his tenure.
we tried out Kevin Ali, and then
Mm,
obviously we ended 32-50. We didn't obviously he couldn't really do much. I wasn't too mad at Kevin Ali. I feel like if we were to go in a rebuild situation, he still would have been kind of a nice coach to have. But
yeah,
I like Jordy Fernandez a lot. I think he'd be great. But the thing is that is that the reason why we're all mentioning this is because people still try to like hide from the fact that that it's affecting us now.
yeah,
They're trying.
it's
We're
hurting us.
trying to forget about it. At the end of the day, like in hindsight, yeah, it's easy to say, yeah, the Harden trade was still bad. But the thing is that it's still affecting it now, and people
Yeah,
are still defending this guy
yeah,
when he's had all this going on, and people genuinely feel content with him doing nothing again. People
yeah,
genuinely trust Sean Marks to do nothing. I can't do it. Like, I don't think it's a bad way to go. I just think that if Josai wanted to go a stay put route, at least hire a different GM with different views.
yeah.
At least do
It's time to
something
move
like that.
on. Yeah,
And then he does that. You got to move on at this point. But hey, I hope in the grand scheme of things, I just want to win games. I just want
yeah,
to be able to be proud of my team and be able to just be happy watching this team every single game. That's all, that's what I want. Obviously games are going to be bad.
yeah,
Obviously you're going to have bad stretches. I know that, but I just want to be, I want to be able to have a competitive team again. And
Yeah.
as long as this guy is, in the realm and we're continuing to do nothing, I can't just trust this guy.
Yeah.
We've seen, like, if anything, we've seen the good in Sean Marks. We've seen him draft and develop teams that are in the dust, the dirt. But
Yeah.
imagine you're able to go into this year, have the third overall pick, get your picks back, and you can also get another team involved, Sean.
Yeah.
It's right in your hands. But people are okay with this guy sitting on his butt and doing nothing. I just don't know if, like, I just can't go that way with Sean Marks. Even
Yeah.
though it could be like it genuinely could be an interesting route to go, it's just you have the opportunity to get your future back now. You're gonna have a lot of money to spend. Imagine you're able to get rid of some of these guys and just dump them for first round picks in drafts where the talent is ridiculous. There's a bunch of 6'7s and 6'8s. Look at the 20, like, just look at the future mock drafts. Obviously, they're not all going to be accurate because these guys aren't even in college yet, some of them. But
Mm,
still, a lot of these guys are still going to be your top prospects, and we're seeing talent develop like never before. And
yeah.
the thing is that although, yes, this draft might be relatively weak, I don't care. The third overall pick is valuable in any draft in the NBA.
Yeah. No, I definitely
And you
agree
can
with you.
all do that just by getting rid of Mikal Bridges. I like
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges, and I really wish, like, I would love for him to work out on this team. And hey, if we go star hunting, I just want to win. So if Mikal Bridges is able to win and do good on this team, and just just provide just good for us, I'm not gonna have anything against him because that's I just want to win. But
Yeah.
realistically, it doesn't make sense for a team like ours. It's nothing against Mikal, really. It's just in our scenario right now, with everything we've seen, it just makes sense to go in that rebuild. Imagine being able to have the third overall pick, but able to also start your rebuild with Cam Thomas, Noah Clowney, Nick Claxton, and have a bunch of money with also the ability to own your own drafts, to control your future on top of having a bunch of money to spend in New York. This is not Detroit. This is New York. We are
Mm,
in
yeah.
Brooklyn. You
Yeah.
can you can go into another rebuild. Hey, guess what? You can just have another thing of Katie and Kyrie happens. Look what we did. Why don't you just do that again? Just
Yeah.
wait a little bit. But guess what? We're not in that situation. We actually have good talent that we can get for these guys. It's not like Mikal Bridges is no Kevin Garnett or Paul Pierce. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Cam
Yeah.
Johnson will get you a first round pick. Dorian
Yeah.
Finney Smith might be able to get you a first round pick.
Yeah. And
Mikal
you
Bridges will get you your picks back. Kevin Garnett at 36 will not.
yeah. Yeah. Like you explained perfectly, bro. You broke that down perfectly. Like Sean has to make a decision, and this is why, like, I want to let us know in the comments, like, do you still want this man as your GM? I really want to know because there's Nets fans that still defend Sean, and still, after what we broke down for literally 30 minutes of Sean Marks' history with the Nets, 9 years, all the history he has with the Nets, I just think it's time to move in a different direction. You know what I'm saying? And if he doesn't get it right this year, it's it is extremely, extremely hurtful. This man just keeps like it's like he just gets away with everything. You know, he's like that man that just gets away. He can get away with murder 7 times. You can't get away with murder this many times and not get and not be
And
it's just really hurtful,
if
man.
you
Just
have
talking about
another
this is just making me
another
like,
bad year,
I want to just
and the
oh
thing is that if you have another bad year after everything that's
yeah,
happened.
just yeah, bro. I
You
can't with this.
especially now, you can't, like, Ben Simmons is gonna be gone. Who
Yeah.
knows? Are you gonna be able to keep Mikal happy? You're gonna lose value on all of these guys. I just think it's way
He's
too
gotta pick
risky.
a
I
side.
like
He's gotta
the
that's what I
talent
said.
level,
He's
but,
gotta pick a
like,
side. He's gotta pick a side,
yeah.
bro. Like, just pick a direction because if you don't pick a direction, it's gonna hurt us. Like, we've seen the history of him GMing. He tends to just wait and sit on his hands and play it safe or don't make moves. It's over and over again, and we're tired of it. You gotta be active as a GM. And
And then at the end of the day, you compare Sam Presti and Sean Marks, a guy who's been the Sam Presti, number one longest tenure GM in the league. He just built the number one seed with a bunch of young guys. And guess what? Not only is he not the number one seed with a bunch of talent on his roster, oh yeah, also a possible 17 first round picks over the next 9 years.
mm,
And a talent loaded draft. And Sean Marks has his resume. We've talked about that we've been swept. We were swept twice in a row.
yeah,
We were in the play-in, and then we just had this past year.
yeah,
It's
32 and 50.
we're done. We're
12
done.
seed.
We're done.
Yeah.
And you try to compare these guys and you just don't do it. We've kept
Yeah.
this guy on a we've kept this guy for too long, and it's like at Sean and Josiah, it's like I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. We stood behind him when KD said it was me or him. And in hindsight, it's crazy. But guess what? Kevin Durant was right.
Yeah.
As much as everyone wants us, everyone wants to say, oh yeah, it might be good for us in the future, that we traded it. We'll be happy because of what KD and Kyrie's doing. But I don't care. You still had a chance even after James Harden to win a
Yeah.
championship.
Yeah.
It was there. You were
Yeah.
on that. All you had to do was pay Kyrie Irving, but we didn't do it. And now we're back here. And we want to continue to star on and do this, or just sit on our butts and do nothing. It's like just rebuild already. Look at every single one of these teams. All of these finals MVPs and all the co-stars, these guys have been drafted. And
What's
all of these other guys, all these complimentary players,
yeah.
they tend to not be drafted. They tend to be signed players. The Rockets, they were able to draft all of these guys with our picks. Like with some of these picks, they were able to get, like they were able to get that with them being able to control their own future and having picks, they were able to get people like Jabari Smith, Cam Whitmore, Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, Amen Thompson, and you have
And
Ime Udoka as your coach.
the
We're
ironic
us.
part of it
We
is that
we
Sean's yeah.
traded for James Harden 3 years ago. The Houston Rockets, their ultimate player, the Houston Rocket, James Harden, was traded to us 3 years ago, and now they're better than us. Think
Yeah.
about that. He was traded to us 3 years ago, and 3 years now. Look at us.
The
Look at us.
ironic part is
There's
is
still
like
hope,
Sean
but we gotta
started
you gotta
out
you
with
gotta you gotta
rebuilding.
take direction.
He started his GMing career with the Nets rebuilding. Like it's not rebuilding to a like full level, but he still kind of had to reshape dumb salaries. So
He
it's
had to
like it's
come from a
funny how
rebuild and
he's
bad
not
players
doing
and
it
bad
again.
contracts.
Yeah, exactly. He's not. It's
Timothy
funny how
Mozgov, bro. He got off of Timothy Mozgov. Where was this? Just
yeah.
moving off of these guys and just able to, get your picks. And it's like, dude, it just sets us up perfectly. The Houston Rockets literally want to talk to us. They want Mikal Bridges. It's perfect. It's set up in your hands. You had it at the trade deadline. It should have already been clear that we should have did it at the trade deadline. Your value was higher, but guess what? Sean Marks, you waited. You lost out on more value. I just don't want to do it for a full year. Another half year. Mikal Bridges. Essentially, we were able to get essentially Jalen Green for Mikal Bridges in our
Mm,
picks. And I
yeah.
don't care. I don't care about the Suns picks if we get our own picks. I will trade the Suns picks for our picks in a heartbeat if you're able to control your own in a draft. I don't care. And you having a bunch of money, yes, you need that. You need those picks. But you're able to get Jalen Green and all of that, and you
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah, it hurts, man. It hurts. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. Huge rant on Sean Marks. Let us know if you like rants like this. This is one of the biggest videos. But hey, if you're a fan, like if you're a Nets fan, just honestly tell us in the comments, like, what do you rate Sean Marks' GM career? Would you rate his career at 1 through 10? Also, tell us, do you still want are there people out there? Do you still want Sean Marks as your GM if you're a Nets fan? Do you think Sean Marks got the wrong, like what are your defense for Sean Marks through these 9
Do
year
y'all
tenures
trust
of his
Sean Marks to stay put?
yeah, do you want him to stay? Do you want him to go? Let us know your thoughts in the comments because a lot of Mets fans, I feel like Sean Marks is still a divided subject. Nets Twitter people are going crazy, like still defending him, still, letting Sean is still good. Give him time. Like it's been 9 years, so it's hard to like give him another chance after such huge failures over and
It's
over and
just
again.
so
5
hard. The
coaches:
second longest tenure GM, he still hasn't
Kenny
been able to find a
Atkinson,
coach in
Steve
those
Nash, Jacques Vaughn.
Kevin Ollie and
After
now
day
Jordan
after
Hernandez.
firing coaches, like it's not like it's nothing. It's just
And then
yeah.
one last point that I want to pick on, just in terms
Mm,
of the coaching and why we need Jordy Fernandez to turn out so bad, and why Sean Marks needs this year for him
yeah,
to be good, or else he's done. And we as an organization are kind of screwed up as well because even getting a new GM, still like it's nice and will obviously be huge, but still with Sean Marks doing all of that, that just puts our next GM in an even tougher direction. And it's
yeah,
like, but he you got to think we after we got rid of Steve Nash in that 22-23 year,
mm,
literally less than a month after the season starting, we fired Steve Nash less than a month. We didn't get a coach in the offseason. We fired him less than a month in the season because of how bad it was. And then we
yeah,
hired Jacques Vaughn. We hired Jacques Vaughn. Things were going good, and then Kyrie requested out. And not even 3 weeks later, when Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant requested out without even seeing it, with saying a person that you met for the first time, I want to marry you,
Let me
you
extend
signed
you.
Jacques Vaughn to a contract extension, not
Yeah.
even 3 weeks after Katie and Kyrie got traded. You didn't even get a chance to see, and you signed him to a contract. You already had him signed for the rest of the year. What are you doing? Why are you panicking, Sean Marks? Again, another coach where you panic, another
Yeah.
move.
The
Like,
panicking. It's panicking GMing, bro.
it's
Like
rough.
this is the
This is a
theme.
rough
Panic
topic,
GMing.
man. It's just,
Yeah.
we want to just see our team succeed so bad, and just topics like this are just it's rough. But at the end of the day, I still have hope for this team, and I'm gonna, we're gonna be here, and we're gonna continue to root for and put out content. And I just want this team to win, and even if it takes, a rebuild, I'm okay with that. I'm much more okay with losing and having our own future and being able to look back and be like, I'm able to just look at develop. I would love to have a year where I could just look at development and be able to be okay with losing, because guess what? We have a top 3 pick and a draft that's
Yeah.
stud stacks, and you have $80 million, $75 million in cap space to spend. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. Hit that like button for us. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Nets Kingdom AJ and at Nets Rage. NetsKingdom.net. The site is back up. So look for more articles coming down the pipeline, and we're gonna have a lot more content for you guys as we get closer to the draft. We'll see what
16
can
more days.
Sean
16
redeem.
more days until the NBA
Yeah,
draft.
can Sean
And
redeem himself? Let us know in the comments your thoughts on Sean Marks. Huge red, but we love y'all. We'll be back. It's Nets Kingdom.